As a kid, every year, my brothers and I, my parents brought us here to the state fair. And when I had kids every year, we brought them to the state fair. I look out and I see the roller coaster and the Ferris wheel and the Midway that stood out here. It was a huge part of our community. And then in 2009, the state of Michigan just cut us off. They shut it down, no warning. And what was worse, they had no plan for the property. They left it sitting here vacant. And when I was running in 2013 in a city with 20% unemployment, I kept saying the state needs to turn this property over to the city. This should be a place where there's 1,500 to 2,000 people working, and all you've got is weeds in an abandoned parking lot. And I got in, my first meeting with Governor Snyder, said, turn over the land. He said, you guys can't even run your own city. You have to have an emergency manager. You can't be trusted with the development. We're going to do it at the state. And year after year, as I watched them screw around with plans for movie theaters, agriculture, housing, impractical stuff that they couldn't move on, finally in 2018, the governor agreed to sell the land to the city of Detroit. Except it's 158 acres. There's 16 acres along Woodward. He says that 16 acres is too valuable to be entrusted to Detroit. So we'll sell you the under 142 and we'll handle the 16 on Woodward. Those out here are laughing because they know the only 16 acres still not to be developed. But this is what self-determination is about. We said this is a special property. It's going to be developed in a special way that's going to create 1,500 to 2,000 good-paying jobs. I turned down a number of proposals. And one day, Todd Platt came in from Hillwood, and Gary and L.A. Torgo from the Sterling Group said, we got this plan. Amazon will build this 4 million square foot warehouse, bring 1,200 jobs. And I said, for the whole site? And they said, yeah. I said, that's not good enough. We can do better than a warehouse and 1,200 jobs on this site. And I'll still remember the look on Todd's face. Detroit's turning us down. But this is where self-determination takes you. This was too special a site to do for that. And this is where Holly Sullivan is the great president of their worldwide economic development. She said, okay, we want this site so bad, we'll build the 4 million square foot warehouse, but we'll go up 4 stories. We'll shrink it to 80 acres, and she says, this site is so valuable, we won't ask for any tax incentives or any tax abatements. We want to be here. That deal with Amazon, I'll tell you what it did for us. That building over there, which I expect will be a manufacturing facility for hundreds of more jobs when we land a tenant there, and we will. Back here, you can see the historic dairy cattle barn, which would have been knocked down if you had a warehouse on the whole site. Instead, we are renovating it into a 60,000 square foot DDOT transfer facility for the tens of thousands of bus riders who connect from the east, northbound, north-south routes to the east-west routes, and we're reusing an historic building. And then next to that, we saved the facade of the State Fair Coliseum into a park, largely because of the influence of Councilmember Callaway, who was quite passionate about recognizing the history. And it's going to be a beautiful Coliseum Park, and there'll be another employment facility on this other side. We're going to come close to 2,000 jobs because we did it together. And because there were no incentives, we sat down with the community and said, even though this isn't a community benefits deal, what do you want? And the folks to the south said, we want a park on our own side of State Fair for our neighbors. And it went to the east, and the folks said, we want a park in our neighborhood. And so with the proceeds of what Amazon paid us for this property, we built the new State Fair Park. We built the Charleston Colton Park, absolutely beautiful parks, getting usage, and we had the money to take the band shell, which many of us remember going to concerts at, and it took a lot of work to move that band shell in one piece. There wasn't a lot left to it. And it will be opened across Woodward in Palmer Park to host concerts for decades to come. This is what happens when a city has self-determination, right? And Amazon promised at the time we'd have 1,200 employees that would have good-paying jobs. And I'm happy to say that as of today, They've hired 1,279 people, average starting wage of $19 an hour with benefits, 60% of them residents of the city of Detroit. That's what we're trying to do here. And so, Holly, you and Amazon have just been terrific partners. She said to me at one point, this is the easiest siting we've ever done in the country. I said, the way Amazon is treating Detroit, it should be an easy siting. Who ever heard of somebody coming in and hiring thousands of people and not asking for any tax abatements or incentives, right? And doing this. You've been great partners, and since Councilmember Callaway got elected, she has helped shape the vision of this place to be respectful of the history that was here, that she remembers as well as I do. The first time she called me and says, we can't lose the Coliseum. I was at the Shrine Circus at the Coliseum. You don't have to tell me, right? But we don't have, how can we do it? We can't lose the band shell. How can we preserve it? She's been an enormous force for where we ended up, and Councilmember, I appreciate what you've done. And now I get to introduce somebody who's been a force for the redevelopment of this whole community, from having the Huntington Bank headquarters downtown across from Comerica Park, the new high-rise on the site of the Joe Louis agreement in partnership with his sons at the Sterling Group, and really the person who pushed a vision to make this include Detroiters in the planning. Please welcome the chairman of the board of Huntington Bank, Gary Torgoff.
So the one thing, good morning everybody. The one thing that the mayor left out of that very first meeting where Todd and Ellie and I were in the mayor's office, the first thing he said to us is, in 2009 when the state left and we finally got the property turned over, the one thing I told him is, we will have thousands of jobs here when the state never produced jobs. And the mayor held our feet to the fire, and there are 1,200 jobs thanks to Holly and the amazing Amazon people. There will be many more at this site, and it really is the vision of Mike Duggan who brought this to life. And so, Mayor Duggan, we thank you so much for everything. I also want to thank Nick Curry. I know that Nick is here. He really was an originator of help. Nick, are you here? Okay, Nick, we thank you, and we thank Kim Tandy. And of course, Councilperson Callaway has done so much. She was just recently elected. It just seems like yesterday, but her force and her influence is changing this whole community. So we thank you so much. We can't thank you enough. I see Councilman Coleman Young, who is here, who's doing a terrific job. He shows up everywhere. Thank you. I heard that Letitia Johnson is supposed to be here. If she's not, she deserves credit also. And Fred Durhall, who I think is going to be here. I want to thank my sons, Ellie and Yoni and Jake and Manny, who I think are here also. Ellie, just stand up so people know who you are. Thank you. We in Detroit have one of the most marvelous partners. In Dallas, Texas, there's a company called Hillwood, run by a guy named Todd Platt, who is really a spectacular partner and a person who believes in Detroit and has done so much to help us in our mission for growing Detroit. So Todd, thank you. When the mayor was talking to us about this site, he said, this is a critical crossing place for Detroit. And we've got a transit center that really does not live up to that promise. And he said, if you're going to do this, we want a brand new transit center. We want you to help pay for it. And we want it to be the critical closing area so that it can be opened up for Detroit on all four sides. And so, Mayor, there's another great thing you brought, is the transit center here to this location. Just for 1 minute, I just want to remember the person at Hillwood who really did so much to bring this together. His name is John Magnus. Holly will remember him, Todd, of course, and the whole team. John had a terrible accident. Unfortunately, he was climbing a tremendous mountain for charity and had a bad accident on that mountain, and he lost his life. But this facility really, in so many ways, is dedicated to him. So, John, we know you're watching from up high, and we thank you for what you did. In closing, I just want to say that the community around this is amazing. There are so many. Holly mentioned some of them. The Amazon people mentioned some of them. They are great partners in this, and there is so much growth going on in this area. that with Amazon and with the partners that are coming, Rescue My Nature Now is here. Are you, any of your representatives? I think I saw right over here. What great work they're doing. We're so proud to support you. So on behalf of Hillwood and Sterling and the city and the community, Ian, thank you for everything you do. We are thrilled to be here. We're thrilled to actually see this grow. We're thrilled to see the well-paid jobs, and we know they're going to get better. Amazon lived up to every single promise. We hope we have, Mr. Mayor, for what we promised. We thank you all for everything you have done to bring us to this day. And Detroit is continuing to be on the move. There's more and more going on in this town than I can ever remember, and we're very grateful to the leadership of Detroit for it. Thank you all very much. Oh my gosh. She is so right. You see, she holds all of our feet to the fire. I am afraid of her. I love her, but I'm afraid of her. It is my pleasure to introduce, she deserves a standing ovation, City Councilman Angela Callaway.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Gary, for that. And welcome to District 2, the most amazing district in the city of Detroit. And I'm sure all the other council members would say their district is amazing as well, but for sure, this is the most amazing district in this city, and I'm so proud as a newly elected official to be able to represent the most amazing district in the city. And thank you, Mayor Duggan, for always giving me a shout out and always remembering me. And we have a good relationship, and I'm hoping that it's going to continue. We're going to do some great things together, and I know that, and I'm looking forward to meeting with you, and we can talk about more things about what's going to happen in District 2. So thank you, Mayor Duggan. And thank you, Kim Tandy. I wasn't here. I was a resident, and you were here, and you're working with the mayor and other residents and the other partners to make this happen. So let's give Kim Tandy a hand as well. I was a resident, but I'm going to stay on point. Today we gather with great excitement as we celebrate not only the Fulfillment Center opening, but also the incredible news that it has brought in more than, according to our mayor, more than 1,200 new jobs, and I'm excited about that. This is a moment, and I'm going to ask my colleague to come and stand with me. Yes. Member at Large, Comine Young II, number 1. Absolutely. Thank you for standing with me. This is a moment of immense pride for our community, as Amazon's decision to open here represents a resounding vote of confidence in our workforce and growth potential. These jobs will provide livelihoods for many individuals and families. I'm thrilled to welcome new members to this amazing community. I'm sure these jobs will contribute to creating a strong and resilient workforce. Thank you, Amazon, for recognizing the potential of our community, because you could have gone anywhere else. There is nowhere else other than District 2. So thank you again, Amazon, Todd and Gary and all the other partners, and of course our wonderful mayor. This partnership between Amazon and our city will undoubtedly be one of the most beautiful mutual growth and prosperous ventures in our city. These new opportunities are not just jobs, but they're stepping stones to a brighter future for many individuals who otherwise would not have these types of jobs. So making $19 an hour, and that's incredible for them. I look forward to celebrating the success stories from this collaboration and from all of our community members and our residents. And thank you for standing here with me, Member Young. And we also have a Spirit of Detroit Award that we'd like to present to the officials from Amazon. I'm not going to read it, but I would like to see it hanging somewhere in this large facility one day. But this, yes, Holly, come on, Holly.
Yeah.
This is for you. And thank you for answering our mayor's call. Thank you for all those conversations that you had with the mayor to bring this into fruition. And congratulations. And hopefully you'll find, again, a spot in this beautiful facility to hang this Spirit of Detroit Award.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So much. Appreciate it so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
You want to take a picture with the mayor? With
Okay.
this? too?
He's telling me what to do. Okay, tell me what to do.
No, I just asked, did you want to take a picture with the mayor
Okay,
as
we
well?
want to take a picture with the mayor.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Follow Director Young.
Yes. Yes, that's right. Okay, tell us what to do.
No,
These
you
ways
go
good?
get a
Okay,
picture.
okay.
Where's your camera?
I have experience with these cameras.
Yeah, a little
he
bit.
does.
A little bit.
Quite a bit, yeah. I don't know if I can,
How about we step in front of it?
Yeah, step in front of it. Yeah.
yes.
All right, thank you all so much. I'm Ian Conyers. I have the honor of being the head of community engagement for Amazon here in Detroit. And it's been said time and time again, this is about community. We've been working to support local organizations in recreation, wellness, those that are focused on our neighbors, our folks that live, work, and play around this area. And so we have a real big honor today to have a lot of those community block clubs with us. They're the ones that have made the difference and that are around us. So I want to today bring up several of those block club presidents from Grigsdale, State Fair. We've got Miss Lolita Haley with us. If you're anywhere near Livernois in this area, we'd like them to come up and we have a special presentation. We're going to be making donations to each of them for the remainder of this year up to $100,000. So we're very excited to be able to share that with them today. Please join us up here today. Coach Elsie, some of the basketball team, Ron Bartel, everybody that's been a part of our program this year.
Keep on. That's all right. What do you think, man? Well,
I couldn't get a picture of the check, though.
We have been holding our breath, wanting to know what was going to happen over there with the safe fairs, and now we say, we and we have some jobs and some people. We already know Amazon pulls up, but it pulled up in our community, and I think that is fantastic. And I think we're going to use that. Excellent. I love that. Is that what we do in our district, in the communities, the district managers, our council people, they answer the phone, and the mayor, he knows anywhere I see him, I'll talk about anything. He's smart. If you don't like it, I don't know, because I keep going back to the peace respondent, and my phone doesn't ring. That's a big deal in the city. A lot of cities cannot say that. I've been in Livernois, on Livernois as a business owner for 50 to be back on Livernois, and guess what? Amazon is in the house. And I didn't have to wait 50 years. So I want to thank you for the opportunity and the support. And all August the 5th, if you're in town, we'll be on Livernois celebrating the jazz on the avenue. Thank you very much for
All right. Thank you, everybody, for being on this word today. It's an honor having all of you here today to highlight both our incredible employees as well as the people serving our facility. With that being said, I want to call the mayor up here for the ceremonial ribbon cutting as well as the other.
Woo! Wow.
Come on,